Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Remember, if you love film, gaming, or television content, please consider clicking that subscribe button because today I'm going to be talking about the new Sam Mendes film, Empire of Light. So, let's get into it. So, if you saw my last video on the Fablemans, I mentioned how I saw a double feature exploring the power of cinema. The first screening was The Fablemans, and the next one, and my final film I saw in 2022, was Empire of Light. A film I had no expectations for because the reactions from this have been very underwhelming and mostly lukewarm. A lot of talk about this being quite boring and messy at times. All of this completely killed my excitement, and I was really just going to watch this because it's in the mix for some awards. Before I get into my opinion on this, I went to another screening that was just one of my favorites of this year. I also didn't credit the cinema, but Dendy Southport was where I saw both The Fablemans and Empire of Light for these New Year's Eve screenings, and it was just excellent. So thank you for Dendy for putting that on.
You guys are the best.
Everyone in the theater was just the target audience for this, and it was beautiful. I also felt very exclusive because they played a teaser for Tar. I can't remember if it was before the screening of The Fablemans or for Empire of Light, but everyone was talking about how excited they were for the film, and I'm just sitting there thinking, yeah, this is a really great film, and I can't wait for those people to finally see it and just really get to embrace that amazing Cate Blanchett performance. Anyway, back to Empire of Light. When you watch this in a theater on New Year's Eve with an audience that is actually really excited to see this, it hits so much different, and I couldn't have thought of a better way to watch this specific film. Now, with the two screenings I watched, if I had to pick either The Fablemans or Empire of Light, I know The Fablemans is great. I definitely think it is. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I love the movie. But I'm picking Empire of Light, and I know that is definitely going against the grain, but I just love this film. I could not help but just get swept up in the beauty of this movie. I think both these movies actually complement each other surprisingly well. If you ever get the chance to watch both The Fablemans and Empire of Light on the same day, definitely do it, because I think what The Fablemans does well, Empire of Light doesn't, and vice versa. The Fablemans is if you are looking for something a little more simple in its storytelling and is just so consistent the whole way through, and it hits those marks at a very high level. The Fablemans will be what you want. Empire of Light to me is a slightly more ambitious film in terms of all of the themes it's trying to hit, and in one of my few criticisms for this movie, it does bite off a little more than what it can chew at times, but it tries to hit the biggest home run, and that is why if it doesn't work for you, you're probably not going to connect with it because it does so much that for some audience members, it could feel boring. On the other hand, if it really does connect with you, it will really hit you, and I was definitely the latter in this case. Empire of Light has pretty much the very best talent from the UK possible. You have Sam Mendes directing. If you don't know what he has made, he's directed things like American Beauty, Skyfall, Spectre, and most recently 1917. You have Roger Deakins, maybe the greatest cinematographer ever, and is responsible for maybe the most gorgeous film I've ever seen in Blade Runner 2049. You have the best performers from the UK in Olivia Colman and Colin Firth. You have one of the best up-and-coming actors in Michael Ward. And just for a nice touch, they're not British, but you have some of the best composers ever in Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Now, I just wanted to mention everyone because to me they all combine and have moments that really stand out and make this film so brilliant in my eyes. The undeniably great thing in this movie though is Olivia Colman. I said one of the dumbest things I've ever said in my channel in my Oscar nominations prediction video when I said I thought that the only possibility of her getting a nomination is just really because of the name and that's it. I'm sorry, but that is just so stupid. I can't believe I said that because this is one of the best performances of the year in my eyes. Even if you don't like this movie, you have to respect that performance. I mean, I said the Fablemans had me teary-eyed at times. Empire of Light affected me way more in that regard because Coleman's performance just hits you in ways that I have never seen before. When she cries in this movie, you want to cry because she cries like a real person. You know, for most people, crying is ugly. It's something that we're all ashamed to do, and it's something that we're fighting back, but those emotions just overwhelm us. In movies, it feels like crying comes a little too naturally for a lot of performers, if you kind of know what I'm saying. Coleman captures that ability where she is fighting back tears and the situation just overwhelms her and brings out that emotion and makes everything hit so much harder. There's also a freak out scene from Coleman, and how can you just not be engaged with that scene in particular? It was mesmerizing. She just captures your attention just instantly with her performance. And I mean, what more is there to say? She is truly one of the greats. Michael Ward is the other co-lead, and I think he is also brilliant. The way that these characters connect with each other just made for maybe my favorite romance of the entire year. It is tragic yet beautiful at the same time, and because the film covers racism, I briefly thought for a moment that this might be going into some white savior kind of tropes, and I don't think it does do that here because I think Coleman's character, if anything, makes Ward's character's life so much harder. And they are honestly just two broken people in very different ways, and that is why they complement each other so brilliantly. I really don't understand how you can be numb to this movie because when it builds up with those emotional moments, it just affects you. I don't see how you could be numb to that at all. I felt for the characters, and I have to give credit to Mendes and his direction for being able to bring that out in his story, even if it can be a little messy at times, because this wants to talk about mental health, racism, the power of cinema, and it just doesn't have the time to cover all of them, so it does falter at times. But I think for the most part, this was really brilliant to see. Now, going into the technicals, you have the legendary Roger Deakins behind the camera, and yeah, this is a beautiful film. That's kind of a no-brainer here. Not his best by any means. I think 1917 and Blade Runner 2049 maybe had better cinematography, but there is still imagery here that will stick in my mind forever. I mean, he can turn the most mundane looking thing possible and make it look like heaven because he is just that talented, and that is incredible to me. I'm going to now talk about two shots in this film that were the most mesmerizing to me. First is the one that is all over the marketing, the fireworks shot. New Year's is a very special day for me personally because a year ago, when the fireworks were going off in the city, that was when I proposed to my now fiance. So to see a moment when we see some of the most beautiful fireworks in a film go off on New Year's, and that is what kickstarts this romance, was a beautiful moment that connects to me a little more than this just being something pretty to look at. The next one is another one that we have all pretty much seen if you've been following this film at all. And it was one that I kind of rolled my eyes at when I first saw it because I was like, not another one of these shots. I saw it in The Fablemans too, of someone watching a movie and you see the projector behind them. I don't know, I've just always found that shot kind of corny, but let me just explain. In here, it was just brilliant because what Deakins does and Coleman's performance combine to execute a very emotional shot. I got teary-eyed here too because when you have the rest of the movie behind this shot, with the score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, the performance and the cinematography just all combine for a really brilliant moment, and it makes that image so much more powerful. Overall, Empire of Light was brilliant. I can't believe this is sitting on something like a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes. Please don't let that dissuade you from seeing this. You may like it, you may not, but if what I described is something that sounds somewhat interesting to you, please give this a watch because it has some truly brilliant filmmaking behind it. I'm going to give Empire of Light a 4.5 out of 5. I will definitely be buying the Blu-ray for this, and I think I will be watching this one again in the future because so much of this just connected with me, even if I haven't been through a whole lot of experiences that these characters have gone through. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have seen it, tell me what you think about Empire of Light in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.